What's going on, everybody? This is Black Men Sundays. I'm your host, Corey Sylvester Murray, and we're talking about generational wealth, mental health, finance, and business.
It's a Black Man Sunday. Time to put all childish things away. I refuse to be the man I was yesterday. Gotta put my best foot forward and elevate.
And now let's go on to introduce today's guest. We have Tiffany Waisha Griffin. This sister is the founder of the ACE Network. We're going to find out what that is. This sister's from St. Louis, living in ATL, Georgia. It's hot land. It's June now. She's also a former recording artist, worked at a major broadcast company. This sister check this out. This sister went to Missouri State University, studied electronic media production. She was also a media consultant for Cox Communications. So we're going to find out about all that. And this sister also was a rapper. This sister had a record deal, a development deal with Jive Records. She went on tour as well, and she rapped with the brother Huey from St. Louis. So without further ado, Tiffany Waisha Griffin, welcome to Black Men Sunday, sister. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Corey. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be on Black Men Sunday today.
Definitely. So let's get this conversation started. You know, like I said, you studied at Missouri State University, electronic media production. You also had a production company, Real Point of View Media.
Yes.
And you also did some production with Ronnie DeVoe of New Edition and, BBD. That girl is poison.
Yes.
So let's start from the, we're going to get to the ACE and all that, but let's just talk about your background and working in media and how you were able to create your production company.
Okay, absolutely. So just as you stated, I come from the Midwest. And originally I started more in a music realm of it, right? So I went to Missouri State University to really learn the behind the scenes of the music business. I just felt like that's so important because a lot of people get into the game and they really don't know the business end or the behind the scenes. And I didn't want anybody telling me, oh, it's going to cost $15,000 to shoot this video when I know you can shoot this video for a lot less than that. So I really wanted to educate myself on it. So I took electronic media production. Electronic media production taught us TV production, audio engineering, 3D animation as well. So it kind of well-rounded you for everything so that you have a little bit of knowledge from there. Real Point of View Media actually started once I made the transition to Atlanta. I was really a small fish in a big pond at that point, right? I had done a lot in St. Louis. I really built a name for myself in my career, my music career in St. Louis, and I was kind of jumping out of that pot into this one. And I came down here running and thinking that I could run the same way in St. Louis, which is a much smaller city that I was in Atlanta. And I quickly found out it's a different type of race here. So I had to think of an avenue of what can I offer, right? Because a lot of times when you come as an artist, it's always we need something. Can you help me get a deal? Can you help me get here? What can I bring to the table and offer as a service that can also help leverage my music career? And that's when I developed Real Point of View Media. I had a lot of connections here before I moved because the production deal with Jive I did out of Atlanta. So a lot of my business connections was here. And I was like, well, I already work with a lot of people that's in that field, and they're looking for video and film work and press work. So that's how Real Point of View Media developed from there. The name itself, I really want to try to keep genuine content, right? Content that's real, content that's authentic. And that's my main goal with everything that I produce. So that's how that came about.
Great information on that. Yeah, because I was doing some research on you. I'm like, oh, this sister's a former recording artist, worked with Huey and went on tour. So before we take care of business, let's talk about that. How was that for you back? Because, Huey was popping.
Yes. Rest in peace to Huey. I loved it. Being a recording artist has always been my dream, right? I'm that kid who found out their dream at a young age and chased it. And I never let go. There was never an A, B, or C with me. I completely chased it to the end. I developed a name in St. Louis because I was doing all the shows, all of the open mic. Nothing was underneath me, beneath me, nothing. So I was able to connect with all of the DJs, all of the radio hosts, and everyone in the city. I think it was about May or June time, there was an artist that was coming out named Tiffany Fox. that some people may be familiar with Tiffany Fox. Jive had actually came into town to look at Tiffany and kind of scout her a little bit more, and that's how they got wind of me. At that same time, we were having an award show called the Traffic Music Awards in St. Louis, which was hosted by Tony J. He was on 100.3 The Beat in St. Louis. And that year, I actually won Female Artist of the Year. So I had started to build a name and buzz. So when they came into the city, they were told about me, and that's how I ended up connecting with Jive. I've always known Huey from like around the neighborhoods. We did shows together and things like that, but we had never worked together until that Jive situation came about, because he was on Jive at the time as well.
Okay, great information. Just wanted to get some background on that. Now let's go ahead and jump into the business. You're the founder of Ace Network, but before we talk about that, you were a media consultant for Cox Communications. So you have a media background. So you
Yeah.
understand the power of media. But what issues did you see as you were working to say, "Hey, I want to do my own thing"?
I'm big on our culture, right? And I'm big on uplifting us in a positive way, and putting out things that are authentic. I sat in a lot of rooms with a lot of executives, a lot of major networks, because we did a lot of the negotiations on what's going to go on the Cox platform. Cox is a big enterprise, right? It wasn't a lot of us sitting in those rooms. It wasn't a lot of us that had a voice to bring to the table to say, hey, this is great content, this is not great content, or we want to pick this up. And I just seen a void for that, and an avenue that was needed. Everything is based off of profit, right? When you come into the media world, how many clicks can you get, how many views can you get? And even though sometimes the road of positivity and uplifting may not bring as many clicks as fighting or violence or things of that nature, they would still steer towards things that would just bring in more profit instead of the authenticity of what's going on around us. So that's where I seen a niche that I felt like I could fill that void, and help direct media into a different way, right? Because when we look at media now and what's out there, it's all driven by a lot of violence. It's driven by a lot of things that downplay our culture. And I think that to see the change, you have to be the change, right? And that's why I went into that realm and said I can develop this and push this narrative forward.
Definitely, definitely. And that was just a setup. Now it's time to talk about Ace Network. But this Black Men Sundays, we talk about generational wealth,
Okay.
finance, and business. So I want to take care of the business in addition to understanding the Ace Network. But for people listening that says, hey, I may want to start my own network as well. What kind of money do you need to have, and what type of talent or shows do you need to have to really get it kicked off the ground?
Financial stability is definitely important. I will say it's a high overhead. It's not something that you would just start and it has a low entry to where you can build it up to actually maintain, because I have a team that actually maintains the network, make sure it doesn't go down. If it does go down, they have to jump in and put it back online. It's a high overhead in order to do so. So I will make sure that first that you have your home finances together, right? A saying that I always say is that you cannot build a house with a messed up foundation, and your foundation is your house. It is your way of living, because once you start to do this, if something dips off, like my air conditioner went out 2 weeks ago, you know how much in a house an air conditioner costs. Once it goes down, it's like, oh man, but you got to have to be able to have money to be able to leverage the regular things in life that's going to happen to you, and also maintain your network at the same time. On top of that, I would also find your niche first, right? What is the type of content you're looking to put out, and build some content first before you actually go to the network. Me per se, I have a total of 70 episodes that's available on the network right now. I started with 25, but that at least gave everyone some type of content to watch to get an idea of, okay, this is what I'll receive from watching this network. This is the type of things I'll get. So
Yeah, you kind of hit me hard when you said that AC, because I'm in Orlando, Florida. It's June. My AC went out last year, and I spent like 15,000 on a new one. I was like, wow.
mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
and they took their time coming to fix it. I was like, bro, it's hot up in here.
I said the same thing. They took their time coming out here. So we even had to get window units in the meantime. So just got to make sure that you have enough available to be able to do so.
Definitely. My next question for you is because we haven't gotten to what is the ACE network. I'm just taking care of the business analytics first.
Okay.
Like, what was your business model creating the ACE network?
So when I stood back and I looked at, like we said, media in general and what's out there, my whole business model was to rebuild the media that's coming out to the world now. We hear a lot of people talk about it and say we're tired of seeing fight videos of you, and we're tired of seeing us displayed as being ratchet on TV. Everybody's talking about it, but who's actually doing it? You have to actually be willing to walk the walk, and sometimes it's a lane less traveled, right? So that was my whole main frame behind this: is how can I help change the narrative of media, but then also make this network to where it's available for others to come along as well. Our whole background and foundation with this network is to connect with the people and connect with the community. I don't want to be a company that's too big to where a new student out of college is unable to obtain something so massive, like, oh, I'll never make it to TV. Because that was one of my things, right? I went to school and I got this huge degree, and I'm like, okay, I'm ready for the world. Media is not something that honestly you can jump in so quick, because a lot of people get positions that they never leave. You sometimes you see your same person on the news from the part time you were a child until now you're an adult. It's the same person that's on there. Once people acquire these type of positions, they stick there. And one thing with Ace Network is I wanted to make it a transitional company to where I can basically give from the school to Hollywood to people, to give them an opportunity to transition out of school and get their feet wet and learn the business and understand that. But not only does that help everyone, that also keeps the content fresh and creative, and be able to talk to generations to come instead of getting pigeonholed inside of, well, this is from my era and this is how we like things and what we want to do with things. We'll continuously have new and fresh ideas that come through and be that stepping stone for someone that's looking to do something just like me.
Great information. Now I'm gonna ask you the $1 million question. You're the founder of the ACE Network. What is the ACE Network?
The ACE Network is a video on demand platform. It stands for Arts, Culture, and Education. So I'm going to bring you the arts. We're going to entertain you. We're going to dive deep into the culture of the world, various cultures too. So I don't want you to pigeonhole as one culture, various cultures. Let's learn about everybody. But we're also going to educate you with shows such as Street Smarts that we have, that right now that we're running videos for, that's promoting the knowledge of politics. That's one that I'm really heavily focused on, because I'll be honest, I'm not the person that's the smartest in politics. I don't sit and watch everything that's going on, but I do want to vote. I do want my voice to be heard. But we needed to find a way to like break that down to people who are not so into politics every day, to let them know it's not just about the presidential race, it's about your local voting as well. So this network will also educate you, but we're bringing it in a way that's digestible, right? A show that you would actually like to watch, something that you sit down and it's entertaining, but I'm learning something at the same time. So that is the backbone of ACE. We're going to lift you up, we're going to entertain you, but we also want to educate you as well.
Great. And where can we, watch the ACE Network? A website or Instagram, social media, Facebook?
All of the above, right? So the acenetwork.net is the website. Then we are also available on all Roku devices. Just like you download Netflix or Sling or anything like that, you will go to your search on your Roku device and type in the ACE Network. It'll pop up. It's an app. You download and install the app, and you're available to watch the content on it.
Great information. Great information. Are you killing it? We having a good time already. And my next question for you is for brothers and sisters listening, and they're saying, hey, I have some creative content. I want to get on ACE Network. What qualifications do you have to be eligible to be on your network?
So we have different options. If you're saying to be on the network as talent or to be on the network as a production, we have opportunities for both, right? We have casting calls that we place usually on our social media, on our IGs or Facebooks, to let you know what we're exactly looking for. I don't expect anyone to have a Hollywood resume, right? This network is also available for starters, people who are just now getting their feet wet into the game, because we do have acting coaches and things that are around to kind of help coach you along the way. So as far as talent, it's available. You just have to stay keep your eyes out for our casting calls. As far as production companies, we look to partner with other production companies, right? We do have a quality check that we do on the content that's sent in, because we do want to keep a certain level of quality for the things that we place in. So you would email us and let us know the content information that you're wanting to place on it. And we would also ask for an example. So maybe episode 1 of a series that you may have, so that we can take a look at the audio levels and the video quality of it. If you say it comes back and it's like, some things are missing, to where if I put this on the platform, it's going to look grainy, or it's going to, the sound is going to be pitchy. I would then send it back to you with what can change on it, so that you can get things up to par, so that we can work out a deal with you to get it on the network.
Definitely. And as far as content on the network, is it like, let's say, because we Black Men Sundays, if I said, hey, I want Black Men Sundays on the Ace Network, is there time slots where I can say, okay, I want to be on Sundays at 4 o'clock? Or how do you differentiate the different shows that you have and the different videos you have as far as the time slots?
So currently it's a completely VOD platform. There's not a live running segment. So it would be up as if you would go to any other app, and you would actually have a Black Men Sundays icon, and we would continuously add episodes to that. We would speak with you then on, all right, are we going to do an 8-episode season or 12-episode season? And then we can upload that episodes based on whichever day that you prefer. Black Men Sunday, of course, let's upload a new episode every Sunday. If we do an 8-episode deal with you, that's about 2 months worth of content, which is typical for a season of a television show. It usually runs 2 to 3 months, right? So we would upload 1 episode every Sunday for you, and have a set time that it would be available for them to go on and view.
Oh, great information. Thanks for clearing that up. Even though you said it earlier, I just wanted to kind of punch it home that it's on demand. But I kind
Yes.
of want to go back real quick, because you said something, it's not a lot of us in the room. And we
Mhm.
know it's not a lot of Black women in the room, but statistics do show these days more Black women are getting C-suite positions at a higher rate than Black men, equivalent to white men. So
Mhm.
when you were, a media consultant, when you were at a major broadcast company, what observations did you notice early on?
That when I don't know if everyone was told this when they was growing up, but I was always told sometimes we have to work 3 or 4 times harder to get there, right? I'm not saying that we won't get there, but you're definitely going to work those 3 or 4 times harder to get there. The opportunities that we are getting is because we are busting our tails basically to get them, going above and beyond what someone else may need to do in order to get those positions. So though there may be some there, I say they're strategically put in particular places, with certain opportunities that's available to us. And I just want to be able to knock down that wall, right? Put us in more positions where we can vocally speak and actually deliver our creativity, opposed to kind of doing some of the checklist jobs, right? The paperwork jobs, the sending the email type of jobs, right? So even though we are there, I will say that we are present, but it's a lot harder to get into those positions for us.
And for brothers and sisters listening, they're saying, you know what, I have some great content. I want to establish my own network. We know we've had guests on the show that have their own network as well. But with a dollar amount financially, from a financial perspective, what type of money do we need to have to really get this off the ground?
So if I can throw, an approximate out there for you, it's approximately $5,000 a month to maintain a network of quality. You can find something that's a lot less. You can, but it depends on what you want it to look like. Do you want to have search features for your people to come to? Do you want them to be able to save their viewers list and come back and watch it later? Do you want to be able to record a new show that comes out? Do you want to have live streaming? Because once you get into this whole world of features, there's a ton of them, right? So if you want to be comparable to say you pick a network and say, hey, I want to be comparable to this network, it's going to be approximately $5,000 a month to maintain that network. Any business decision that I tell anybody to go into, I say, make sure you double that amount that you have in your bank. So if I say it's $5,000 a month to do so, so that leaves us at about $60,000 a year, you should probably have about $110,000 available. And that's for any hiccups, any downfalls in your network. And also to include your marketing promotion, you have to think about all of that as well. But it's approximately $5,000 a month.
Speaking from a financial perspective, because like I said, it's really hot right now. You see brothers, oh, I want to quit my day job. I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to have lunch with my kids at noon every day.
Mhm.
What type of work ethic do you need to have to not only be an entrepreneur, but to run your network?
You're not gonna have lunch with your kids every day. I can tell you that. It's definitely time consuming, right? If you're thinking that you're going to get into being an entrepreneur and that's going to free up all this time so that I can be with my family, it's going to consume even more time than a typical 9 to 5 is. And I honestly had to learn that by scraping my knees, right? You work so long at a corporate location and you see the ins and outs of things and you're like, I can do that. I can do that, right? That's what you think. And I do this for you guys every day. But when you step out from behind that machine and you realize all the resources that was provided to you in order to do those things that you were doing, and now you're the go-to man, right? You can't go to anybody else. You can't make a deck or a business proposal. You have to finance it yourself. You have to be that marketer. You have to put the right people in the right places, and that takes time, right? So your life is really going to be consumed by it, but you have to be ready for that and know that you have to give it your all and put your time and effort into it to actually build it out to what it's going to be. And you're not going to jump off the porch and jump into $1 million business and all of a sudden it's flourishing. One thing that I've learned is that it takes a few years for your business to even be profitable. You're going to be pouring into your baby. So it needs to be your baby. It needs to be your passion, your love, because you're going to see a lot more going out than you're going to see coming in when you first start something like this. But if you put in the time, the effort, and the money, you can definitely make it a success.
Definitely. And one thing I've learned just from interviewing different entrepreneurs, they always said, takes about 5 years before you really start getting your money back. So, what
Mhm.
advice would you give for new entrepreneurs that quit their job? They have some money saved up, but they're kind of blowing through it pretty quickly because, like you said, now they're the point person for everything and they're
Mhm.
spending more, but not a lot is coming in. So
Mhm.
what advice would you give as far as, staying on the grind, not giving up? Because I see a lot of brothers and sisters, they'll say, oh man, I did the entrepreneur thing for 3, 4 years. I did it, but I didn't really make a lot of money. And now they're back trying to get that job back. So what
Mhm.
advice would you have for that?
What I noticed for a lot of people jumping into entrepreneurship is that we don't value ourselves like we should, right? We jump in offering a $5,000 project for 500 because we want to get that client. We don't want to lose anybody. We don't want to turn anybody away, and we devalue ourselves. So it's hard at that point for you to make ends meet or even break even when you're not valuing yourself. So you really have to step back and take a look at your product and say, this is my price and I'm sticking to that, right? And then also scale your plan out. Jumping into it without a plan could be one of the scariest things out there. Scale yourself out. I start in August of the beginning year, right? So I plan things for 2024 in August of 2023 is when I start to think of my plan for next year and get things together. Before you get into it, you should know approximately how much you're going to be spending. You should look up your prices, look up your equipment cost, look up your overhead, and find out how much is this a month that's coming out from me. And scale it to where it's something that's feasible for you and you're able to do, and just don't get discouraged, right? It's a marathon, it's not a sprint, and slow progress is better than no progress. So keep believing in it and keep building into it, but definitely pace yourself. Don't try to keep up with the Joneses, pace everything out for you.
But I kind of want to go back. You did a production with Ronnie DeVoe, BBD, New Edition. How did that come about and how did that go?
Networking, right? That's the biggest thing that I've learned in this. Nobody asked me about my degree. Nobody wants to see my diploma. It's really about who you know and the friendships and relationships that you make along the way and how you treat people. I was working with another videographer and he was like, hey, I need some assistance with this. I really just want to do their pictures, but we're going to be doing a couple of days following Ronnie DeVoe around. I just want to do the picture end of it. And I like to bring you in to do the video end of it. And who would say no, right? I'm like, it's Ronnie DeVoe. So it was an awesome experience. And just to have friends in the business like that, that's willing to pull you in and believe in you and your talent and your craft. We followed them for 5 days. And it was just like a day in the life video. We went with them on their photo shoots. It was Ronnie DeVoe, his wife, and his two twin boys. We went with them on their photo shoot and them getting ready and shopping for their clothes. And it was really just showing, a day in the life of them. And it was a great experience. And let me say, he's a really good people person. They're super nice, super sweet. Because that was my first big name person I was working with. I was definitely nervous, but they made me feel so comfortable and made me feel like family that it went very well.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I'll be, looking at Ronnie DeVoe. I'm like, bro, this man way older than me. This man looked like he did from like 1990. I don't know if he's in the ponds or what, but I'm like, that brother stays super young. I'm like, man, I need that formula, whatever he's using, so
Absolutely. It was the same
definitely
with Carson too. It's definitely the same.
nice. All right, fellas, the stage is open. Let's go.
Hello, this is Kalali Dope. I'm living in Maryland, Calvert County, Maryland. First of all, thanks for spending time to talk to us. Really appreciate your time. I guess the first question I want to ask you is, you spoke earlier about saying about knowing what your dream was at a young age, and chasing that dream. So how was that? What did it take? Like, first of all, was it just something you were born with to know, what you were going to do at a young age? And then, what did it take to be chasing your dream or chasing your purpose from a young age?
Okay. You know what? I was never really into rap when I was younger. I was an R&B. I was an R&B person. I wanted to be a singer, but I really couldn't hold a note, right? But it was my brother, honestly. He brought me Bone and Biggie song. It's Bone and Biggie, and he had the lyrics wrote out. And so it was that good old tough big brother love. He was like, "You're gonna learn this verse by the next time I come around, right? Or you gotta sing your arm." And I'm like, no, he loved to give frogs at the time. I don't know if you guys know what those are, and that big brother love, right? So I memorized it and I really just enjoyed doing it. Like I still know that whole verse to this day, And I was like, I can do this. And I was like, it became a passion to me from that point on. So I was always an outgoing person in school. So I was in all the talent shows. I had a clothing line while I was in high school called For Show, but the clothing line was really just to help promote my music because I was selling my music in school. And I was that kid, right? I was voted most likely to succeed in my senior year because I was that kid. When they came outside, when I first got my first car, I had the trunk pop and I had hangers with my shirts hanging up. So that's what it looked like. It didn't take for my parents to do it, right? Because I didn't come from a background where we had it like that, right? I was a kid that moved around a lot. We lived in homeless shelters. So I couldn't wait for my mom to be my momager and get out here and do things. So I used the resources that I had. I know friends who had good printers and their parents might have had Photoshop or something. I was like, okay, make me a CD cover. We would just take little pictures around school and do things like that until I started working. And then I started investing in myself. I was staying at home. I was working at Burger King and I found a local print screen shop, knew nothing about making shirts or print screens, but I'm inquisitive. I asked, what do I need? What size does it need to be? What do I make it in? And I just figured things out on my own kind of, right? And I've just always had that passion and drive in me. And it really stems from me not having the best upbringing, right? Because I know where I don't want to go. I know where I've been and where I don't want to go back to. And I've been hustling ever since then.
I got you. Yeah, that's always fascinating to me. Like just how people have that hustling mentality. So you really just had that hustling mentality. You was out there going to get it.
Yeah. Any opportunities.
Yeah. You also mentioned, that you're looking to inject, more authenticity, I guess, into the media space. What does authenticity mean to you? Like what's your idea of authenticity and how is it different from what's going on right now?
So authenticity to me is honestly just the raw, pure things of what you actually encounter in the community. I think a lot of the times the things that we record come back, they get edited and flipped to a narrative, right? I don't want to push any narratives. I really want to just connect with the community and what's really going on. I don't have an agenda. I'm not trying to push anything or make somebody go vote for a certain person or, like, let's lay everything out and be transparent. The authenticity to me is being transparent with what really is happening and what's really going on in our world and how we can really be a change in it. I've seen edits that's come across my desk of take this out, but I'm like, that's probably important to know. You sure you want to take that out? Yes, take that out. Because when you get into higher corporations, they are honestly tied in with government policies and how things should come out and what side do you vote for and what side are you, without saying too much, but it really is. They're all connected in there. So even though you might not say it's a direct agenda, there is some influence on a lot of the things that come out. I really want to do this without that influence, right? Because I feel like it's depicting us in a way that's not reality. It may be a portion of things that's happening, but we're not showing the whole picture. We're showing this much. Let's open it up and show the whole picture.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, definitely. They call media what they call the fourth estate.
Mhm.
After the three branches of government, then the fourth estate is the media. So it's really important. So that that's just to let you know, like the people, who study these things in terms of policy and stuff like that, understand that media has a big part to play in what happens in our politics and policy and our culture and everyday life.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that at the Pentagon, there's actually a film production studio. They have gotten behind and funded a lot of the films that we see, so you got to feel like, to a degree, there's influence there on whatever's being produced out of that. So just trying to take some of that out of it and let it be for the people. That's why I opened my network up to newer production companies and people coming out of school. I don't have as many of the regulations at this moment. Be vocal, show your perspective of the world and the things that is going on with you. And let's just be clear and transparent so everybody can get to know and understand everybody.
Yeah, so I'm not in the media, or should I say, doing this podcast is as close to media as I get. How can I, as a consumer, impact what's shown in the media and help it be more authentic?
Honestly, with things like this that you guys are doing, this is awesome, right? I love the name, for one, Black Men Sunday, because I do feel like Black men are underrepresented, and when they are represented, it's not in the best light, right? So giving spaces like this where people can come and learn and talk and be authentic, I think you guys are doing your part. I now have a place where I can go to if I say, I'm struggling with my finances. I know you guys got a podcast on finances and managing finances with a financial advisor. You're giving a resource right now for people to go to find that authentic information. So doing this, you are definitely doing your part.
Yeah, I appreciate it. With social media and everything that's going on, we have all different kind of social media now and things like that. So that's also changing the face of media. Does that make running a media network harder or easier?
It's definitely a little harder. It's harder in the sense of sometimes quality is not as important anymore, right? I think anybody with an iPhone 15 is gonna go out here now and shoot. They might shoot the whole movie on the iPhone now, right? So it takes out some of the rules and regulations of let's keep a good quality product out there. I'm investing in cinema cameras and lighting equipment, and that might not even be the thing that goes viral. I could put together a $5,000 production, and somebody who had an iPhone caught a good scrap in the streets, they're gonna get 50,000 views on it, while mine might just get 200. So it kind of takes some of it out. But I will say, in that same breath, I guess it does help you reach people easier. The distribution of it all, right? One of the biggest things we used to run for is to get a distributor, somebody that can either distribute your music out or distribute your videos out or your movies. You are your distributor now. So I guess that adds that plus to it, but it also takes away a little bit of the quality and time of actually creating a quality product.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, that's all I got. Definitely appreciate the conversation. Been very interesting. You're definitely an inspiring individual. We'll be following you, and hopefully, hope you can expand as much as possible and your vision continues to grow. So appreciate you taking some time with us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
Are you enjoying yourself on Black Men Sundays?
I am. I am. I love a good intellectual conversation now. So I can go on and on for a long time, but I'm really enjoying this. I'm glad you guys have me on.
Yeah, definitely. And let's talk about selecting your team as far as your business with the ACE network. Like, how did you select the personnel to be on your team?
That was one of my biggest struggles, right? Because I'm such an independent person. I would be like, I'll set up the lights myself. I'll hold the camera. I'll write the script. I'll do what I have to do. When you get out there, you realize you can't do everything. You don't know everything, and you can't do everything on your own. So I had to slow down because I was really overworking myself, and I had to slow down and try to get the right people in the right places, right? In order for us to get going. At first, I was like, I'm not going to do anything until I find the people. And I was reaching out to people and I was like, well, let me just help on your productions and let me just help on your productions. And I got some of the best advice was just do it, kind of like Nike. Once you start to just do it, people ultimately end up coming to you. I was out and I was networking at events. People would see my hustle and see that I'm at a lot of events. I do a lot of red carpet events and things like that. And they were drawn to me because of my hustle. And then I was able to speak with them and see what kind of work do you do? And okay, I see you got your camera. I got my camera. Let's talk about it. And I ran into people who had the same drive as me being actually in the field. So if you are worried about a team and a network, get yourself immersed in the field. Get out there and meet some people. I'm also a part of an organization called WIC, Women in Cable Television. We have quarterly meetings to where we come and I'm able to be around and network with people that has the same passion and drive with me. One thing about working in TV and film is that you're going to find a lot of people. Everybody want to be on TV, but everybody don't want to work for it, right? Everybody wants to be in front of the camera. You're only going to find a few that want to be behind the camera until you actually start to network in that area of people who have the like mind as you. So join some groups such as WIC or something in your local area that have like-minded people and network. I can't say network enough. Networking is so important. Get out, talk to people, and everywhere you go, let people know what you do. I walk in the room and saying, hey, I'm Tiffany, I'm with the ACE Network. This is what I do to everybody that I meet. I take a little picture with them so that, hey, I don't want to fall to the bottom of your list of people because you're going to meet a lot of people when you're out. So let's take a picture. Let's keep this memory so that you'll remember who I am. And then that's just how I built my team. I just started networking with people and let them know my vision. And I found a bunch of people that have the same vision as me.
Great information. What do you say to entrepreneurs that, like I said, they're spending a lot of money, not a lot of money's coming in, but then when they get deals, they're underselling themselves? What advice would you give for them?
Stick to your price. Your price is your price. I've done it too many times to where I'm like, oh, you work with a lot of people I want to work with, so I'm going to cut you a deal. And I've done it so many times that one time I cut a deal that I felt like, okay, you're still making a good amount of money. And the person was like, oh, that's it? I was expecting to pay a lot more than that. And I was like, oh, you shot yourself in the foot trying to cut a deal, And it's like, stick to your price. You're not going to be able to work with everybody. Everybody is not going to be able to afford what you're doing, but you have to scale your business to be profitable. You have to, or you're going to burn yourself out. You're going to run through all of your money and you're going to be stuck. So once you do your plan, do your yearly plan. I know what I'm going to do each quarter of this year and what I have planned before the year even starts. Know how much funding you need for each, and then you break down how many gigs per se do I need to get in order to do this? Because not only do I have the network, Real Point of View Media, as you talked about, is the production company behind the network. ACE Network is the overarching network. This is the production company. So we do still produce content for other people. You can hire the production company. So how many productions will I need to produce in order to show profit within my first quarter? And then that's what you strive for. You don't stop until, if you say I need 4 productions at $2,000 a piece, and you think about your staff, how much do you pay your staff? For me to see a profit off of this, I need 5 productions within this first quarter. You hammer that. You don't stop until you get your 5 productions in order to make that money back for you. Stick to your guns and don't devalue yourself. You are worth every penny that you charge. If there could be a pair of shoes out here for $500 people are paying for to put on their feet and walk in the street, they'll pay for your service. People pay for what they want.
We've had a lot of guests on from different cities that moved to Atlanta. So I have to ask you, why was it important for you to come to Atlanta? Like, what was it about Atlanta that said, I need to be there?
Atlanta was where my business was for me, right? I felt like I was kind of hitting my head in St. Louis. I had done a lot in the field that I wanted to be in, and I just didn't feel like I had room to stretch and grow and network with people in higher places. You know, they always say when you're the smartest one that's in the room, you're in the wrong rooms, right? So I need to start to put myself in other rooms to where I could learn from other people that were there. And since I had already done business here in Atlanta with the record deal, I came back down here to start. Most of our content that we had started with music artists. I worked with everyone from like Erica Banks to Ronnie DeVoe, to Scotty ATL. Like I can name a bunch of music artists that I've done. But from there, I was able to branch out and build it up into something bigger. So that's why I came to ATL, of course, and it's Black Hollywood here, right? So it was opportunities and just from my network, and this is where my core was.
Great information. And my last question for you, for brothers and sisters listening that says, okay, I'm not going to quit my 9 to 5, but I have some good content. I want to start a network as a side hustle. What advice would you give?
Start your content first. And before you go to that network, because you remember we talked about that high overhead for that network. It's a high overhead. Start with your content and try to draw in followers and viewers first to know that you have something. You might go down the documentary road. You might go down the action movie road. You might go down the TV series road. Find a niche. Stick to that niche until you're able to develop the base that you need first. You can do it with the 9 to 5 too. Don't think that it's impossible. With the type of jobs that are out there now, the work from home, the flexibilities that you have, you can start it. But I would definitely say start with the content, build up a name for yourself in a certain field, and then start to branch out to your network.
Great information. Great information. And is there anything that I didn't ask you that you wanted to say before I let you go?
I just want to let everybody know to go and subscribe to the ACE Network. It is available again on all Roku devices. Again, go to your search menu on Roku, type in the ACE Network and just hit install and download it and continue with us on this journey. We are open to all feedback, opinions. I'm not one of those ones that feel like, oh, everything we put out is completely perfect. This is a network for the community. So if you feel like there's a topic that needs to be touched on, reach out to us to our IG, which is the ACE Network TV. So at the ACE Network TV, and DM us. I'm open to ideas. I'm open to feedback. I'm open to working with the community. So just remember, we're here for you, and we're going to bring that content that you enjoy.
Great information. Great information. All right, Tiffany Waisha Griffin, thanks for coming on Black Men Sundays. You could have been anywhere, but you came and pulled up on us from the hot Atlanta, because it's hot as June now.
Yes.
I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. And thanks for coming on Black Men Sundays, sister.
Thank you so much for having me, and keep doing what you're doing, Corey. I love it.
It's a Black Man Sunday.